Welcome all to this evening session of celebrations on account of Adi Sankaracharya Jayanti. I will start the session by chanting few mantras. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Padyantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vasudeva Sutan Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane Pranatah Kleshanashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkrupartamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sahanavavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Injyotistava Bhanumana Hanime Ratrau Pradipadikum Syadevam Ravidipadarshana Vidau Injyotirakhyahime Chakshustasya Nidilanadi Samaye Kintirtiyo Darshane Kintatrahamato Bhavan Paramakam Jyotisadasmi Prabho Aham Nirvikalpo Nirakara Rupo Vibhurvyapya Sarvatra Sarvendriyani Sada me Samatvanna Muktirna Bandha Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. Namaste viewers. We have a speaker today. His name is Mr. Ramesh Sengamedu. Rajesh is an Advaita Vedanta follower, writer, teacher, and sustainability professional. He follows Arsha Vidya Gurukulam Parampara of Pujya Swami Dayananda Saraswati Ji. He has authored 6 books expressing different ideas on how one can live a happy and contented life. He teaches middle school students on Sanatana Dharma culture through Arsha Vidya Bala Gurukulam. He also leads Bhagavad Gita study group, a cohort of 30 plus seekers since 2019. Rajesh works with a leading consulting company as a go-to-market leader for sustainability consulting services. Due to some reasons, he is not in a position to join the lecture on a live basis, but he has sent a video lecture and we will play the video after this. Can you please start video? Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Today, I'm here to talk about Vedanta lessons for youth. Before I start, I will chant the first verse from a very famous shloka called Nirvana Shatakam by Adi Sankaracharya. Incidentally, today, the day I'm recording this, is Shankara Jayanti. Mano buddhyahankar chittani naham na cha shrotra jihve na cha grana netre na cha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayuhu chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. I have adapted the contents of this talk from the very popular Vedic heritage teaching program of Arsha Vidya Gurukula started by Swami Dayananda Saraswati. I am a teacher there. And of course, from the Nirvana Shatakam shloka, I just chanted the first verse of the 6 verses, and you will soon know why. Growing up in the current times can be very confusing, especially for a Hindu youth. The native forms of culture and religion are challenged by other forms reaching the youth through global media. They have to choose, but without knowledge of the meaning of those forms, choosing is impossible. Vedanta, the ancient philosophy rooted in the Vedas, offers profound insights that are incredibly relevant to the challenges faced by today's youth. Youth will have to navigate through many topics such as self identity, self image, psychological growth and spiritual seeking, moral development, communication, cultural identity, value for traditions, and importantly, understanding the meaning of success. Let's start with a few definitions. What is youth? Youth is a period of development from the end of teenage years through the 20s. It is a period of either early employment or continued education for many. It is a period of increased rationality, maturity, and responsibility coupled with restlessness. A pervasive theme that dominates one's behavior and thinking is the relationship between oneself and society. While one develops a better sense of one's identity during these years, this is also a period of time when one sees disparities and conflicts between oneself and the social order, which prompts one to search for new ideas and ideologies. That is youth. What is Vedanta? Think of Vedanta as a very old yet new idea, a revolutionary idea that has formed the very basis of the culture of Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma. While there are multiple definitions of Vedanta, let us look at its etymology. The word Vedanta is a compound word made up of two smaller words, Veda and Antaha. That is the final conclusion of Vedas. That's the meaning of this word. In short, the final conclusion is quite simple yet brilliant. I will summarize it in very practical ways for you. The final conclusion of Vedas are 1. There is an underlying unity in the diversity we experience in this universe. 2. We experience diversity because of our minds. It is easier to perceive diversity than unity. 3. However, our minds can be trained to perceive unity. 4. When one understands the idea of unity in diversity, several problematic topics like self identity, relationship with society, relationship with nature will no longer trouble us. Understanding Vedanta means living life fully. Let us discuss how. Let's start with the first topic, self identity and self image. We often will confuse roles we do with our identity. When someone asks you, who are you? we may answer with our biodata. I am a student of this college. I am the son of Mr. X and Mrs. Y. I am an engineer in this company, etc. And if someone criticizes our role, we get upset about it. But if we understand that they are criticizing our role and not us, then we should not be upset about it. Understanding this distinction between the role what we do and our real identity is crucial for personal growth and self-awareness. This principle helps us navigate the complexities of our roles in society without losing sight of our true self. But for that, you need to dive deeper to understand your true self. Let's dive right in. Ask yourself, who am I? Whenever you speak or write with I in a sentence, just ask, who is that I? Who is the subject I in that sentence? Let's take an example of a simple sentence. I like mango. In this example, I is the subject, mango is the object, like is the verb. Clearly, the subject I is not the object mango. So, is I a part of your body, or is it your mind, or is it both? Notice that in this example, the object is separate from the subject. The object can be touched, seen, tasted, smelt, and when you eat, you can even hear the mango being crunched. Remember that an object can always be experienced. Only a subject can experience an object. In other words, anything that you experience is not you. It is an object for you. And this experience need not come through the five sense organs. It can even come through in other ways. And I will discuss that now. Let's try another sentence. I am angry. In this example, who is I? Is it the body? Clearly no. Is it the mind? Yes. You can say mind is experiencing its own self, the mind itself. Now, apply the rule. A subject is distinct from the object. Then you will break down the mind into two parts, emotions and observer of emotions. Applying logic to this, only observer has to be the same entity to know if there are two different emotions in the mind. So, I is not the emotion in your mind. When you said, I am angry, clearly the anger is not you because you can observe the anger. Ask yourself, what are the parts of your mind? Not brain, the mind. There are several ways of modeling the mind. One way of modeling the mind is splitting it into four different parts: memory, emotional mind, rational mind, and ego. Ego is that part of the mind that associates itself with the functioning of the mind, of the different parts of the mind, and says, I did this, I did not do this. This is my idea, etc. I felt angry. That is ego. And of course, you understand what is memory, emotional mind, and rational mind. Let's again apply the logic of separating subject from object in this case. You will conclude that you are not your memory, emotions, rational mind, or even the ego. because you can observe your association with all of these. Think about it. So, who are you really? Vedanta answers this question. For those who understand the answer, life will become very easy. How will it be easy? Here is how Vedanta will help us. Let us say, if someone criticizes your body, say they do body shaming, or even praise your good looks, if you understand the Vedanta's message, you will not get upset when somebody body shames you, or you will not feel very elated when somebody praises your good looks. You will just accept their bouquets and brickbats. 2. If anyone hates or likes your idea, the same, you'll just accept it because it's not you. If anyone insults you, how do you care? It's the same. Now, extend this argument to sadness and happiness. If you experience sadness or happiness, just recognizing the fact that you are different from them is good enough to not get worked up. With a calm mind, you will recognize that these are not permanent. They will come and go. But you are the permanent observer of these events that happen in your mind. So, in some sense, they become instances, events in time for you and not you. That's a big distinction. Please make that distinction and separate out your emotions from who you truly are, because your emotions are an object to you. Here is how this wisdom will immediately help us. 1. We will recognize that nothing is permanent in this world. Everything comes and goes, like happiness, sadness, anger, peace, greed, generosity, relationships, friends, family, everything. 2. When you recognize this as a fact, you will develop a calm attitude, and your new mantra will be, "This too shall pass. I should not agonize over this." Just this shift in mindset will reduce our stress, perhaps even eliminate it completely. Let's talk about what this does to our self image. If we did not have a good opinion about ourselves, now we can become more objective. Say, as an example, we are not good at keeping things clean, and our family members point that fault in us. Or say, we get very angry more often than required. Now, just being objective, we can work on it. We can change our behavior, because anger is now an object. The attitude of not keeping things clean is an object. It's not you, the subject. All the while, what we thought was intrinsic to our core nature is no more core to our nature. Getting angry, we thought, was core to our nature, but it's no more. It's an object. Not keeping things clean, we thought, was intrinsic to our nature, but no more. It's an object. You can change it. It is just a habit that we have formed somehow. And any habit can be replaced with a new habit. Think of it in another way. Can you take the quality of heat from fire? Impossible. Irrespective of where you are, in India or in the Arctic Circle, fire will always be hot, because that is its intrinsic quality. You cannot separate heat from fire. But water does not have the quality intrinsic quality of heat. Hot water, for example, is hot temporarily and it cools down. So, if we mistake heat as intrinsic to water, then we will have made a terrible error in judgment. Similarly, if you have thought that any habit is your core nature, core intrinsic nature, think again with this new knowledge of who you truly are. Let's move to the next topic of how this knowledge is going to help us in psychological growth and moral development. Let us say you begin to appreciate Vedanta's idea of I. Applying this concept immediately means one great benefit. Anything that is not I is either a subject or an aid to you, an instrument to you to be used. Like a mango or a knife to cut a mango. Like your hand to eat or your mind to think. Like your mind to store your memories or your intellect to decide what is right and what is wrong. Which means everything can be changed for better or worse. It is left to you, left to your intentions. What is it that you really want? Nobody wants to be a bad person. Everybody wants to do the right thing. But are good, bad, right, wrong, all of these set in stone? Are they not relative? Absolutely. The answer is yes. They're all relative to each other. There is no absolute in any of these. The only thing that is absolute is you, your true identity. Rest all can be changed. Question is how to change. The answer is simple. We have to just ask, how do I want others to not behave towards me? Don't ask the opposite. How do I want others to behave towards me? That's a wrong question. I'll repeat. We have to ask, how do I want others to not behave towards me? When you ask that question, you will come up with a set of behaviors that you don't want others to exhibit towards you. Few of them are: you don't want others to hurt you. You don't want others to lie to you. You don't want others to get angry towards you for a mistake you make. You don't want others to be greedy and steal what you have. You don't want others to be jealous of your success. You don't want others to show off their wealth or success. Take a pause now. If these are the behaviors you don't want others to exhibit towards you, is it not fair to assume that they would also expect these same attitudes from you? Answer is yes. That's why these are called universal values. They have nothing to do with where you live, India or America or Africa. They are not dependent on a particular culture, African culture, European culture, Indian culture. They're not even dependent on a time. Nobody wants others to hurt them in the future, or now, or want to be hurt in the past. They're not even dependent on any religion. Nobody wants to be hurt by others, irrespective of which religion they follow. When you understand this, you can take stock of your own behavior. If there are some behaviors that we want to change, for example, we hurt others with our harsh words, then we must change that behavior. It's as simple as that. So, what are the 6 behaviors that are critical for us to think about changing? Vedanta says there are 6 behaviors known as 6 enemies of the mind, Arishad Vargas. And in Sanskrit, it's called as Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada and Matsarya. Selfish desire, anger, greed, delusion, ego, and jealousy. When we develop the right attitude to change our behaviors, we can pick the most important one that we don't want to have in our personality and with intention practice to eliminate it. This is psychological growth. This is developing moral values, good moral values that are universal, irrespective of where you are, irrespective of which background you come from, irrespective of which place you live in, irrespective of which society you go into. Then our lives will be determined by how often we live by these values. For example, say we decide to change our attitude and want to practice not hurting others physically, verbally, or even mentally. What does this decision mean to you? Here is what will happen. Suddenly, we will be wondering, for example, if killing another animal or bird for food is the right thing to do or not. Or we will become more careful with our words. We will want to speak the truth because it's a universal value, but in a nice way. And what we speak should be helpful to the listener. If we don't know how to do that, then either we learn to speak the right words or just shut up and not speak at all. This is personality development. This is learning how to communicate better. Let's go to the third topic, living life with this understanding of Vedanta's concept of I and the universal values. Now that you understand I and the values to cultivate, you are building your personality. But for that, let's break down what is personality. Again, personality can be broken down in many ways, and here I'm going to talk about personality in a different way. In a personality, there are four elements. One, your true self. Two, your perceived self, the way that you perceive your true self. Three, your projected self to the outside world, how you project yourself to the outside world. And four, your projected self as seen by others. Living an authentic life means to reduce the gaps between these four. Reducing the disconnect between them means you are doing what you are saying. You are saying what you're thinking, and you're thinking about what is beneficial for everybody. Because you are governed by the universal moral values, and those guide your day to day actions. Now, when you're changing the way you think, cultivating the right attitudes, and behaving the way governed by these principles, you are living the life of Vedanta. The entire life now becomes a quest to completely eliminate the gaps between these four elements: true self, perceived self, projected self, and self as seen by others. That is a life of success. That is a life worth living. That is a life that is meaningful and valuable. That is a life that adds value not only to you as an individual, but also to the society. All challenges in life, be it at work, relationships, marriage, family, parents, elders, money, health, you will develop a healthy attitude by this very understanding. Interestingly, nobody other than Vedanta will teach you this. No secular subject will teach you this. No secular subject will help you integrate your life with the universe and with the way that you need to live in harmony with this universe. Finally, how do you put everything into action? What do you have to do? The short answer is Bhagavad Gita is the user manual for life. With this theoretical background that I have been discussing with you so far, by applying logic, it is also important to know how to apply the principle of living authentically in our day to day life. What exactly should one be doing? Bhagavad Gita is a roadmap to help you with this. I encourage all of you to listen to any of the acharyas from Arsha Vidya Guru Parampara to grasp the specifics of how to implement this Vedanta teaching in our daily life. If I were to summarize, it would be number one, every task you undertake, do it for the benefit of all, benefit of the larger good, not for your selfish benefit. Two, have an attitude to serve others, humans and other living beings. Three, remember you have the right only to do all the work in the different roles you assume. Four, you do not have the right to how the results of that work will turn out. It can be great, good, bad, or ugly. Five, don't do your work to expect any type of results for your sole benefit. Six, don't misunderstand and stop doing all work that you are expected to do because you must be doing all the roles that you are expected to do. And that too, you should be doing them properly. And finally, do not take things seriously. Develop an attitude of this too shall pass. Thank you for your attention. I hope these Vedanta lessons inspire you to explore and embrace the profound wisdom of the Vedic way of life. I will now conclude this talk by chanting the complete Nirvana Shatakam. This shloka is the basis for preparing this talk, and I encourage you to listen, understand the meaning of this shloka, and use it as a basis to live your day to day life. If you remember, I started with the first verse, and just to complete that, what that first verse says is quite simply Mano buddhyahankar chittani naham na cha shrotra jihve na cha grana netre na cha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayuhu chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. The first shloka says, I am not the mind, intellect, ego, and faculty of recollection, nor am I the faculty of hearing, faculty of taste, faculty of smell, and faculty of sight. Nor am I the space, the earth, nor the fire, light, nor the air. I am Shiva, the auspiciousness of the nature of consciousness and bliss. That's what it says. And I'm going to chant the rest of the shlokas for you, but I'm not going to share the meaning of it and encourage you to please Google for it, understand the meaning of it, and listen to some of these acharyas to get the deeper meaning of this particular shloka. न च प्राणसंज्ञो न वै पञ्चवायु न वा सप्तधातु न वा पञ्चकोशः न वाक्पाणिपादौ न चोपस्थपायु चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न मे द्वेषरागौ न मे लोभमोहौ मदो नैव मे नैव मात्सर्यभावः न धर्मो न चार्थो न कामो न मोक्षः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न पुण्यं न पापं न सौख्यं न दुःखं न मन्त्रो न तीर्थो न वेदा न यज्ञः अहं भोजनं नैव भोज्यं न भोक्ता चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न मे मृत्युशङ्का न मे जातिभेदः पिता नैव माता नैव न जन्मः न बन्धुर्न मित्रो गुरुर्नैव शिष्यः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् अहं निर्विकल्पो निराकाररूपो विभुत्वाच्च सर्वेत्र सर्वेन्द्रियाणां न चासङ्गतनैव मुक्तिर्न मेयः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम्.
Thank you. Thank you for that video depicting the Vedanta as a base for a moral code of conduct for achieving whatever we want to achieve in the life. It will be a good guide for the youth everywhere, no doubt about it. Thank you very much. Viewers, tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, we have got the lecture in Kannada, Jnani Lakshanani in Bhagavad Gita by Vidwan Sandeep D. Dikshit. Jnani Lakshanani in Bhagavad Gita by Vidwan Sandeep D. Dikshit. Please join. Thank you. I will close this session by chanting Shanti Patha once again. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.